Que pasa, mi amigos? Nima here. Today we're going to talk about a game that came out last week, and it is very much in the same world of Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Dynasty Warriors, but with a much different take, and a very, very enjoyable game. You guys really won't believe how much fun it is. But before we get into that, I did want to remind you guys to please hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you love video games and if you love indie games, because we go deep on low-key games and indie games. We do talk about AAA titles, but not as much. So this game is called Twin Blades of the Three Kingdoms, and it definitely is, like I said, in the world of Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Dynasty Warriors, so you know a lot of the people who are in the game. Like, a ton of the characters make either cameos or they're just there for the long haul. This game basically goes from what many of us, if you're familiar with the series anyway, goes from the Yellow Turban Rebellion to the Red Cliff Battle, and everything in between. But it's not the same. Like, in Dynasty Warriors, you decide what character you're pretty much going to play through. As we're in this game, you are Zhu Shu, and he's not a very well-known character from a lot of the games, so I kind of like it. Like, I recognize him because I used him a lot in Dynasty Warriors, but he was one I definitely like. He's not one of the big names, I'll put it that way. Zhu Shu is basically guided by a magical sword, and it tells him essentially where to go, what destiny is calling him. It ends up that he does participate in the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and I'm not giving too much away, but then ends up dethroning Wan Shu, who was the ultimate winner of the Yellow Turban Rebellion. And so this game really does kind of have a lot of depth, much like the, like I said, Dynasty Warriors games and from that series, but it also has like a lot of more intrigue, kind of like Game of Thrones, if you will. And I really do appreciate all of that just kind of encapsulated in this game. Not very much like that though. This game definitely reminds me of like one of those old fantasy books. You know, those ones that you'd find like at a used bookstore or in the library at your school, and kind of had a cheesy cover, but you'd pick it up and it was a little bit predictable, but it was kind of cozy. There was just something about it. That is so much this game, and I don't know why. I think maybe the story, because I think the writing is done really well, but on the other side, it's because this game reminds me of kind of a marriage between Suikoden and Shining Force, which are two classic great RPG games that I love, but with the characters from Dynasty Warriors, which I love the characters and I love the lore and know all about it. So it's almost like supercharges you into a story where you can already have some sort of, I don't know, emotional attachment to the characters in the story with the gameplay of amazing classic RPGs. Now, part of the game is, and this is why I say the Suikoden aspect, is a turn-based game, but your characters do move on the grid that's in there, and it's a large grid, and your movement does matter quite a bit. You can have a character like Hao Ming, who is like, he's a tank, but he can only move one square at a time, so he's not going to go very far. And so if you want to keep him for like defense or for attack, you have to hold your whole party back. Well, it takes him like a half a year to get to the battlefield, or you have, of course, like your svelte characters who move really quick. The other aspect of this game that I really like, and again the Suikoden aspect, is like collecting optional characters and adding other characters to the game. Your whole party is not only customizable as far as certain equipment, but also it's customizable on the formation and the warriors that you take into battle. So there is a lot of strategy to this game, even though I would say that there's some things they could improve on with the strategy, and I would have much preferred more of like Final Fantasy Tactics or Triangle Strategy kind of play style, but I still really do like this, partially because you do have to grind a lot, and you can kind of do an auto battle and just let it grind at times, and it becomes important because this game can be actually pretty long. I'm like 18 hours into it, still not done with it. I'm running around grinding, finding characters, unlocking secrets, and just having a ball. And I think this is a fantastic example of what happens when a series that's kind of been dead gets taken over by another company, and we see what they could do when inspired by something else. And I don't know, I think the best part about this is that Koei Tecmo is not involved, because this series, I really did love Dynasty Warriors and Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but it has been dead for so long. I mean, one of them hasn't made a game in a decade, and the other one hasn't made a good game in a decade, and they've been so repetitive and so blah, but this really is perfect. I would love to see like a lot more money put into this project and then make a sequel cool with, obviously updated graphics, because the graphics are not great. They're fine for what they are, and some of the CGI, I guess, it's not even that, but more like animations, they're pretty good. But you can tell, like, what characters are different, and they're all detailed, but they're detailed, I don't know, it's not high quality detailed. Like, you can tell who Jia Haodun is. It's only because you see the eye patch, like that kind of thing. It's not as detailed as it could be, and I would love to see like a real updated version of this game. There again, something like with the graphics of like Triangle Strategy or something of that nature. That would be fantastic. But for $14.99, you get one hell of a game. Long experience, has that great retro RPG feel to it, and I mean, you can't really ask for much more. I'm super happy with it. It was a game that, here again, that kind of surprised me, because the images really look kind of boring and crappy, to be honest. Like, and then when you actually get into the gameplay, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, I haven't beat it yet, but it's one of those games that I'll play it and I'll just keep grinding and keep playing and keep unlocking stuff and finding more out. And again, like, when you're looking into like the value side of it, which was where the last game I did, Pride Dance, it really tanked as far as value because it was $15, and within 2 hours you pretty much played the entire game. This one you have at least, I'm gonna say, 25 hours into it, I'm guessing, because like I said, like, I'm about 18, 19, and I don't think I'm near the end yet. Wait, one super last thing, the boss battles. Some of them are super intense, like, they are so much fun. Again, you do run into the level checks where you might have to take some time to grind, but wow, there are some very intense moments, especially when you're up against one of those really high-ranking bosses. So much fun. But anyway, guys, June is going to be here soon, in a couple days. We got some really big games that we're going to be talking about. Some really underappreciated games. I'm really excited to get to those and to review them and to let you guys know what I think. But let me know if you guys are a fan of Suikoden or Shining Force or any of those classic RPGs, or if you like Dynasty Warriors and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I'm just curious about what all your thoughts are and what you're excited for in June. Anyway, guys, have a great weekend. And like always, I'm wishing you health, wealth, and above all, I hope you're truly happy. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Man, I really started, like, running out of breath at the end there. I know. I swear to God, it's gotta be allergies. It's horrible.